Once we have our tracks recorded in GarageBand and our project is edited so that all the notes are correct, we can start exporting individual part tracks so that the singers can access them and you can upload them to any Google Classroom, Schoology page, or choir department website that is password protected so that only your singers can access the tracks. What we want to make sure is that we only get the voices that we need for each individual part. So in order to export just the soprano part with supporting tracks, I'm going to go here and click the solo button for the soprano part, which will select only that. Everything else gets muted out by default. But we also want them to hear the piano intro for their cues and audiation for their first pitch. So we'll also highlight and solo the intro part, and of course their metronome track so that they get an underlying beat to sing along to. Not the pitched metronome from GarageBand. Make sure that is unselected, just the metronome track that you've recorded with the drum set voicing on GarageBand. With those three tracks selected, I'm going to go up to Share and export song to disk. This will send it to your GarageBand folder or your Documents folder or your desktop folder. Select that, and then I always make sure that I title this accordingly. So I would have had the piece actually saved as Seize the Day, and then in parentheses, I put the part that I'm recording, hopefully, where it ends up, the type of file, I do MP3. Now the quality is going to change the size of the file. I normally do medium quality so that the audio is decent, but also the file isn't too big to upload to cloud platforms or for students to stream off of their own devices, either singing at home or singing in sectionals. From there, I would hit export, and that would send this particular mix just to my device, and it would sound like this once exported. Once that exports, to export the next file, I'll deselect soprano, solo the alto part while maintaining the intro and metronome tracks, go through the same process of sharing, and export that until I've gone through all parts. If it's a 4-part or 8-part piece, obviously you do this that many times. Then if you'd like to, you can also export a full ensemble recording by highlighting your intro, all vocal parts, and the metronome. You can record and export a piano only if you'd recorded an accompaniment here, and export that with your intro piano part and your accompaniment piano part and the metronome track. And you can even record a piano recording track with the metronome track taken off that the singers could use to record over, either for an individual part check or if you're doing an ensemble recording as part of your rehearsal and reflection process in class. That covers my process for creating rehearsal tracks on GarageBand for choirs. Make sure that your tempo lines up, that your metronome is off when you're exporting, and that you're using sounds that best represent what your singers are used to hearing in rehearsal, so that there's not a big transition from them from singing on their own, singing with you in rehearsal, using these tracks for individual or sectional practice, and then ultimately what they'll hear from their accompanist and you as the director in their final performance or final recording. Hope all of this was helpful information for you, and have a wonderful time creating your rehearsal tracks on GarageBand.